Yo, what's good? We back at it. It's your boy Sit at the Scales Will Prevail. Let me make sure this is. Yeah, it's your boy Sit at the Scales Will Prevail. We back at it with another video. We here to do what happens when we have the Virgo Ascendant, the lovely Virgo Ascendant. What does it mean for you guys? Who are you guys? How do you act? You know what I mean? We here to do the Virgo Ascendant and your polarities in terms of the energy you need to balance out and your houses, which are known as areas of life. We're not doing Placidus house systems, right? We're going to go by whole signs, so that means that we're going to have each sign is going to fit into a house. So each sign will be known as a whole sign house. Got Virgo will be coming into the first house. We got Libra on the second house. We got Scorpio on the third house. Sagittarius on the fourth house. Capricorn on the fifth. Aquarius on the 6th, Pisces on the 7th, Aries on the 8th house, Taurus on the 9th house, Gemini on the 10th, Cancer on the 11th, and Leo on the 12th. Now, even if you use Placidus house systems, this should still resonate with you. Just we're going to be looking at things from a different perspective, right? But yeah, let's get going in terms of this video. Actually, excuse me. Make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. The Scales Will Prevail. I would appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment below your thoughts, whether it be negative or positive. It is what it is. And yeah, we're gonna continue, right? So Virgo Ascendants, right? When you got a Virgo Ascendant, you know, you guys are the type that's about self-improving. It's about work. It's about health, hygiene. So these are things that you actually can be drawn to. Virgo is also a very critical energy, so you guys self-analyze yourself a lot. You're very critical of yourself when you have Virgo in the first house. Then opposite that, you got in the 7th house, you got Pisces here. So Virgo is self-improving. Pisces is a very giving energy. So in your house of relationships, you're very giving. You self-sacrifice a lot. You sacrifice a lot in your relationships. So this is why opposite of that, you need to kind of work on yourself, because you could be overly giving in this area if you tend to do that. This is a savior type of energy coming into the house of relationships. So sometimes, you know, you guys may have to cut that shit out if you feel like you're doing that too much. Now, if you're the opposite side of that is if you're working on yourself too much, then just get back to giving towards your relationships. That's how you balance out the energies. Life is a balancing act. We'll go to Libra on your 2nd house versus Aries on your 8th house. You could be, so Libra is about fairness. It's about diplomacy. It's about balance. So this is coming to the house of your values and your it's your values and also your possessions and your money situation, right? Your finances. So you could be very fair with your finances. 2 F's. Fair with your finances. Being that you're very fair with your finances and your possessions, 2nd house is possessions. You know, you could be the type that's very accommodating. You know, you may give a lot, you may share a lot, you may just, like I said, overly be fair with your possessions. So when it comes to shared resources, you need to be a bit more independent, right? Because you value fairness. That's what it's basically saying, and you value your relationships with Libra here. Libra's a sign of relationships, coming to the house of values. So you value fairness. So this is why when it comes to sharing your resources in the 8th house, you need to be more independent. A bit more selfish, which is an Aries type of energy. Aries represents kind of a selfish energy. Now, in your house of intimacy and shared resources, if you are being too selfish, then you need to get back to being fair with your possessions, right? That's how we balance out the energies. You may feel like you have to be more independent in this area, because Aries is kind of like it's a sign that represents the self. So you could be more independent in your intimate life. You may feel like you have to do things alone, basically, if you move more independent in this area. But at the same time, it's interesting because you do value relationships, right? And you're very giving, Pisces in the 2nd house, to your relationships. Now, Scorpio on the 3rd versus Taurus on the 9th. So, let's see. 9th house, we'll start with 9th house Taurus. So, Taurus represents comfortability. It represents security, being stable. It also represents what I would like to say is stubbornness. You know, people love to say Taurus is stubborn. I'm a Taurus, so you know they love to say we stubborn. So being that you guys, it's coming to the house of belief, so you could be a bit more stubborn in the things that you believe, basically, in your belief systems. So being that you could be stubborn in your beliefs, opposite in the third house is your thinking. You need to transform. You need to go through deep transformation and evolve. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto can deal with evolution, so you need to evolve in your mindset, because again, you could be stubborn in the things that you believe in, right? You could be fixated in your beliefs. Taurus is a fixed sign, right? You could be comfortable in the things you believe in, so you need to make sure that you're transforming your mindset. You know, dive into deep research. Scorpio is a deep sign, so dive into deep research of different topics, different interests. Sagittarius on the 4th house versus Gemini in the 10th house. So this is the private sector. This is your home life, what you do in your home. Sagittarius represents learning, right? It represents learning, growth, traveling, expansion, things of that nature. So you guys can be the type that do a lot of learning within your home, in your private life. So this is why in your 10th house, right? 10th house can represent you doing a lot of communicating based upon the things that you've learned in private. You can do a lot of communicating and sharing what you know, basically. With Gemini in the 10th house, it also can show that you may change your career. You may go through some changes in your career, because Gemini represents change. And then back to the 4th house, it's kind of off topic a little, but for you, 4th house is the home. It's the latter part of life too. What Sagittarius is like, okay, well, you guys could be on the move even as you may travel, basically, like in your latter part of life, and have like your home might be on wheels, basically, when you have displacement. But yeah, again, make sure that you're communicating. It could be like teaching, basically expressing and communicating things that you know in the public world or in your career, because you're doing a lot of learning in your home life, basically. Your mother could have been the type that was a traveler too, or just very philosophical as well too. Let's go to Capricorn in the 5th house versus Cancer on the 11th house. You come off as a Capricorn, so I mean, this is self-expression, basically. The house of self-expression, so this is Leo energy. So you guys come off as the responsible and reliable one. Also, this is fun, the house of fun and pleasure. So pretty much when you have this energy here, Capricorn represents career, represents status. It can represent like work. So these are the things that you're focused on, because you feel a bit more restricted in what you do for when it comes to fun and pleasure, because it's more about work for you. You're more of a mature type of individual in terms of how you come off as Capricorn's a mature individual in terms of how you self-express and your identity. So being that career status, your reputation can be important to you. That would be what you do for fun and pleasure, even though that may not sound like fun. This is why you got Cancer on your 11th house, so you need to make sure that you're nurturing and being the mother. And we're talking about energy, again, not sex or gender. So you need to nurture your friends basically, which is the 11th house, because you could be kind of the mature one, the elderly one, the authoritative one, and because you are more of, about that career, right? Now, if you're overly nurturing your friends, if you're more in the Cancerian side, right, and being a mother in this area, if you overly become the mother in this area, or are the mother in this area, the nurturer, make sure you're getting back to being your Capricorn self, right? Make sure you're self-expressing like a Capricorn. Make sure you're about that career, right? You may also feel a bit more restricted in your dating life as well. So that's just something to think about. Goals and aspirations may be centered around family in the home as well too, or having a family, maybe real estate, interior design. Cancer can play out a lot of different ways, but that's just some examples. Let's go to Aquarius on the 6th versus Leo on the 12th. In your daily routine, in your work, and even amongst coworkers and employees, you feel a bit more alienated. You feel a bit more unique and different. So this is why, more so behind the scenes, which is the 12th house, you tap into your creative side. You may feel more comfortable self-expressing in privacy and behind the scenes. This is where you tap into to maybe who you are, or more so shining behind the scenes. But again, in your work, you feel unique and different, the alien in this area. Now, if you're kind of like tapping into your creativity a lot behind the scenes, more so, then just make sure you're progressing in your work because Aquarius represents the new. It represents progressiveness. So you want to make sure that you're progressing in your work. That's basically what it means. Interesting thing, lastly, I want to state is that whenever you have Leo on the 12th, it's saying that you suppress your ability to shine, as Leo deals with the sun's type of energy, is ruled by the sun. So you suppress this area, self-expression, and you come off as a Virgo. Virgo is more reserved. And also it's interesting how I told you guys that in your house of self-expression, right, you got Capricorn here. So Capricorn will restrict you in terms of your self-expression. So you may find that it may be harder to self-express and shine and show your sense of individuality because of Capricorn here on your 5th, which is the house of Leo and self-expression, and because you suppress your Leo-like energy in the 12th. The 12th house is what we suppress. And again, Virgo is reserved. It's more of that fly on the wall. You more so the type to pay attention to every little thing when you got Virgo in the 1st house. So these are balancing out your areas of life. Stay tuned. Holla at your boy Sid at The Schedule Prevail. And we're going to stay focused and stay on our grind. Peace.